The world won't understand you. Hey, but it's okay. Said the world won't understand you. Cause I made you in my own way. Said the world won't understand you. Cause I made you.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to episode 127 of In a Good Way podcast. Today's special guest is JClay. I met JClay a while back. Thank you for being here, JClay. I'm about to give the whole bio intro, but I just want to say I'm honored to have you here. So thank you.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely. So JClay is a spiritual teacher and rap artist that makes music to heal even the most reluctant of minds. His mission is to help people around the world find and keep peace always. He is one of the leaders of the spiritual hip-hop movement, using music to expose the false beliefs that limit growth. JClay's album, I Am Nobody, I Am Someone, has been endorsed by industry and psychology professionals, music fans, and is being heralded as a key tool in healing the mind. The way JClay is able to break down the mind-body-soul connection in song form, in reference to healing is truly remarkable. That was quoted by Dr. Nicole LePera. How do you say her last name? LePera?
Not sure.
Okay. Holistic psychologist. As one fan said, if Jesus rapped, it would be this. JClay is thrilled to change how music can be used to heal for good. So I actually saw a bunch of the what do you call it? The like endorsements, right? The people that had listened to your music and everything, and they have great things to say, especially those in the mental health field. I listened to a few of your songs as well. Amazing, right? Like the Let Go, really good song. Well, that was the first one I heard. You actually did a presentation the other day. I know I'm just going, but you actually did a presentation the other day. I forgot the name of the song, but it was really good too.
Take It Higher, maybe.
Maybe that was it. Is that released yet or not yet?
Yeah, it's released. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You did two songs then, or
it depends on which one you're talking about. Which event do you know?
Maybe Saturday. There was an event that I think they put like there was all these speakers and you performed at the very end. It was like through
okay,
Zoom.
yeah. So I did 3 songs. Yeah, I did Shine Blind, Let Go, and Take It Higher.
So maybe Take It Higher. I think it was the last song that you performed. Yeah.
It's released. Like all of those are on the album I Am Nobody, I Am Someone.
Oh, that's from that album as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That was a really good song too. So yeah. No, awesome. So okay, so I know I babbled down for the first, little while, but so I definitely want to talk about spirituality, right? Like of course, since I love music, like I go straight to the music. But let's start from the beginning then. I always like to ask my guests from the beginning, like what were you experiencing? Since you were little, was there already an inkling that you were gonna go down this road, or how did it go?
Okay. From the music standpoint, or spiritual, or both?
Well, let's go with. I mean, the spiritual. Let's start with that. Why? If from you the time you were little, you were already like, oh, I'm gonna do music. Then yeah, let's tie it in. Sure.
Yeah. So music was always in my family. Like my dad, he played the bongos, and I always just heard like beats and stuff growing up. I wanted to be a singer initially. I was like, I'm gonna be a singer. But kind of throughout life, like my best friend said I couldn't sing, and I just kind of gave up that dream. I listened. And then I thought I could be a rap artist, but then I was like, no, I'm not cool enough. I don't have things to say, so I'll be a producer. So I just started off making beats. I was like one of the coldest producers ever. People coming from far and wide, like in college, high school, everything, to use my beats.
Wow.
I used to make funny songs to make people laugh. And that was kind of my gateway into making real music. Like I had my best friend now, he was like, man, you should rap for real, man. I'm doing this mixtape called Name Them Shows, where every beat was like a TV theme show made into a hip hop beat. So he was like, I want you to make some beats, but I want you to rap on it too. So I was like, okay. Yeah, I did The Simpsons and Price is Right.
No,
and
I was gonna ask you, okay, I know, okay, I could edit this out, right? I could edit this out.
Yeah.
But before you say that, sometimes I get messages like before, did you ever mess around with Bewitched? Because for some reason, when I was thinking I was something like I saw the Jetsons, Bewitched, like dun 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 dun, and I was like channeling this stuff for you, and I was seeing like stuff. So I wonder if he's done a song with the Bewitched theme, or did he used to watch the show or the Jetsons? All this stuff was coming through.
The theme was on the mixtape. I didn't rap on it. I didn't make it, but I did listen to it. It was on the mixtape.
The Bewitched one?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I always like these confirmations because I was like,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Because I was like, why? I was like, this is gonna be a weird question to ask him. I was like, all right, so I was just like, yeah, the Jetsons, and I saw you like very animated. I was like, so as a kid, I don't know if you were very animated, very like, just moving around, because you don't seem like that. You seem more like composed now, So.
Yeah. I mean, I can get animated. Like it's I've learned to be calm. Like yeah, that was something I had to really learn to do it, and because I could turn it up if I wanted to. But that's kind of the music story until I got into spirituality. But as a kid, in I guess spirituality, like I remember having a strong sense of knowing, which I can't really explain. Like I knew there was a God. I felt that I always communicated with him. And by him, I mean him and her, like collectively. But I just couldn't really explain it. My family wasn't really a church-going family, but we all believed in the higher power. But then somewhere along the lines of growing up, fear set in and all this other stuff, and I just forgot about it. I wasn't all I didn't have that sense of knowing anymore. I had a sense of fear, sense of doubt. And so I was searching for answers. I think I started with the Bible. I was like, let me read this for myself, because people saying one thing, but they're acting a different way. And it's like something doesn't make any sense. And then I started just learning for myself and being amazed by how not I don't want to say wrong, but how not according to the Bible, so-called Bible readers are. And it really took me down that path of wanting to understand the rules of humanity. And I'm not saying that the Bible was right. I didn't even claim that back then, but I just wanted to know what information was out there. And then I started, where did I go from? Yeah, I started debating it with people, just trying to flesh out the details. Like, okay, why is it true in this instance, but not so true in this instance? Some people wouldn't want to have those conversations with me. They thought it was blasphemy, but I was still pure of heart. I wanted to come to the answers. And the cool thing about it was the story of Jesus, because he said that we could do all the things that he could do and more. And I'm like, well, why is everyone, waiting for him to come back when he said we can do this stuff too? So I distinctively remember telling my friend, I said, man, I'm gonna learn how to heal people, but first I'm gonna do this music thing. And it's crazy how it all came together, where it's all rolled into one. Which, and again, I'll admit, I can't heal anyone, but I can show people that they are already healed.
Absolutely. So how old were you when at that point when you decided, okay, I'm gonna do music, and then later I'm gonna heal people?
Yeah. So at that point, I was pretty grown, because I had my day job. So maybe 25, 24, 25 at that time. Yeah.
But when you guys were doing all those like songs and everything before that, how old were you then? Or that was all like in your 20s, or?
Yeah, because it was college. So it was like maybe 21, 22, 20, 21, 22. Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay. And that's what
when
you
I
were
was.
going to college for, or
No, I
music?
went to college for computer science.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because which is the thing, because I've always got good grades, and people are like, well, you smart, do math and science, do engineering. Okay, even though I wanted to do music, but people were like, there's no money in music. I listened, but you know how it goes. But I don't regret it. Like I'm happy in my decisions, because everything led to the next thing.
Absolutely. No, well, I didn't want to, because I know I interrupted you early, and I was like, shit, I should have just shut up. And I know you were on a roll telling your story. So at this point then, so once you start working on music, does that open you up more spiritually then? Is that what happened, or?
Not yet, not necessarily. So I for a while I didn't consider myself a rapper. I was just someone who rapped. I was a producer who raps occasionally. But I formed a group with two MCs that I thought were great, and I didn't want to be the weak link on the on the song. So I just started practicing. I just started getting every chance I could to write, and I was coming up with some amazing things. So in a sense, I was tapping into that, but I didn't know it. And just to give some background too about like the music, I made regular music, like regular egoic hip hop, as they would say. Um, our group, we were pretty big. We had a nice name for ourselves in Texas.
Oh,
Like even our merchandise was in all the Houston, Dallas, and Fort Worth malls. Like people were selling our gear and wearing it and everything. We had like a hot single all over the clubs and stuff.
oh wow.
But each time we would get close to quote unquote making it, something would happen where it's like, did God just step in and stop us from making it? And of course, I'd be devastated, but it caused me to go within. And just to give an example of that, one time there was a contest. You know how they have the hot or not contest. So they played our song on the radio, and they said the most people ever called in and said it was hot because we were in the streets, people knew who we were, and so the program director was like, "Hey, we're gonna play y'all. We're gonna put y'all in rotation." Yes. The next day, died. What? Are you serious? What do we do with that? We
What do
had
you mean
another.
died? They didn't want to play it, or what happened?
Oh, sorry. The program director died. The one who made
Oh,
the decision.
oh, whoa. Okay, wow. Okay,
And
wow.
yeah. So I mean, of course, his death is not about me at all. But
Yeah, no,
it,
but still, I
yeah.
got you. Damn, wow. Okay.
So in another instance, something happened where like, okay, they were feeling us. They said they were gonna add us to a rotation, a different station. Then the program director gets fired. It's like, come on, are you serious right now? Like, so it again, this is very devastating. Like we have so much momentum, and then it's just like, man, we put in so much work. We did so much work that we didn't want to do, just for the sake of this. And then when that happened, it was just, I don't know, it just felt like a slap in the face. And there were other little instances of things like that it made me go to God, like, God, what's up? Am I not supposed to do this? I'm great at it. I love doing this. And I always was searching for answers. That led me to meditation. That led me to just coming up with different philosophies on my own. But then it was when I came across a book called Jesus, My Autobiography,
Mm.
which at the time I didn't understand how, because I didn't know anything about channeling or anything. And I heard an excerpt on a YouTube channel where in the book, Jesus was talking about when he got baptized. And from my idea of what I read in the relationship I had with Jesus, I'm like, this sounds credible. This is the personality I feel like he has, which is a little bit different than the one I think society has for him. So I was like, well, let me get this book. I devoured it in a day. In the book, he said, this is why I wrote A Course in Miracles. So I looked that up, different author, different channeler, different publishing company. So I was like, wow, okay, there's something to this. And when I got that book, whew, it was like it filled in all the missing pieces. Like I was circling around all these divine ideas, but it plugged in the holes of the things that I just couldn't understand.
Mm.
And from that moment on, I knew, I was like, okay, I have to change the kind of music I make. Um, I can't infuse it with thoughts of distrust, thoughts of disharmony, thoughts of a bleak outlook. Like it has to be full of positivity, because that's what I want in my life. And what I give, like giving and receiving are one. To teach something, you have to learn it. To learn something, you have to teach. So teaching and learning are one. So I have to teach what I want to learn, what I want to embody. And that kind of started that whole ordeal of where I am today.
Mm. Interesting, interesting.
Yeah.
So the Course in Miracles is supposed to be a channeled book?
Yes, it's a
Oh, I
channel
didn't
book.
know that. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
'Cause I've heard it
It's
mentioned so many times, and I still haven't gone to. I've read excerpts from it, but I haven't read it. So
yeah.
that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and it's not an easy read either. Like I found myself reading like the same line 10 times, just trying to understand it. Because once you start reading it, you understand immediately, like, this is truth. I don't know exactly what this is, but this is truth. And this is just what I've been waiting for my whole life. Like I wanted a pure truth that just made sense, that I could apply all my logic. And if it's truth, it will remain, no matter if I say, well, what about this? What if you apply this? It will always be truth. And that passed that test for me.
Mhm. Absolutely. Um, so at that point, you already were well on your way with the spiritual walk then, right?
Yeah, yeah, I was.
And so did you, when you decide that you want to make music that's more uplifting, were you still in the group or you were already going solo?
Oh no, at that point we had broken up years ago.
Oh,
Yeah, just
and what caused that, if you don't mind me asking, like a quick little.
yeah. I think okay, so it's three member. It was three members in the group. Like one of them, we're still cool. We do a podcast together called Perfect Mode. The other one, he was kind of moving away from music, but it's like he didn't want to tell us. And
Mm.
so I don't know, we just kept bumping heads and having disagreements about like we're supposed to be music artists, let's make music and stuff like that. And since we had a lot of success with our merchandise, he wanted to mash the gas on that. But I didn't really
Oh,
care about the merchandise. I was like, "Oh, that's good, but I want to, mash the gas on the music." And then we just kind of bumped heads and just said, let's just part ways.
oh, okay. And then from there you went solo, and then you started delving more into the spirituality.
Right. So yeah, at this point, like music had kind of stopped.
Mm.
It was just we just weren't in the right places in our minds, and so it started as an experiment. Can I make a song that teaches these spiritual principles, but it isn't corny? Like
Mm.
it isn't overly preachy. It's like that right balance. And the first song I finished was one of the ones I performed at that event called Shine Blind. And I was like, okay, I might have something here. And so I made a couple more songs. And then what happened, this was, I think, 2018 at the time. It was November 2018. I took a trip to London. I had never been to London. It was a solo trip. I said, you know what? Since I'm here, I'm going to go to an open mic. Um, if I suck, if this music sucks, nobody know who I am. It doesn't matter. I could, I could just go on, find another path. And I performed, and the response was overwhelming. Like it was crazy the outpour of love I got. Like some people told me like the bouncers came in from outside, like, who is this guy? People were just like rushing the stage, and then all the other acts, the MC, he told me after it was over, he said, man, look at all of this. And I was like, yeah, what do you mean? He said, I've never seen these performers this hype because on open mics, sometimes people come every week, do the same songs with a certain level of intensity. He said everybody brought their A game, their best behavior, and he said like I brought that energy out of them, and I was just like, wow, that's amazing. And from then on, I knew, okay, I have to do this at this
Oh
point.
wow. No,
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's yeah, I mean, who could ask for a better I mean, feedback
Yeah.
that so you were the first one to perform that night then, or?
No, I was probably number 3 or 4,
Oh, okay.
and there's probably like 20 to 30 acts. Yeah.
Oh wow. But
Yeah.
after that everybody was in this certain energy then.
Yeah, everybody was just like high vibe, everything. Just
Wow.
yeah, it was
Oh no,
cool.
that's amazing. And this was all people you didn't even know over there in London.
Nobody. Yeah.
Hey, no, no, that's I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after that, then once you saw that it did have a good, like, people connected with it, so that's when you were like, okay, I'm gonna come back and match the gas on that, as you put it, or.
Well, yeah. So okay, I came back and I'm working on some stuff. I'm like, okay, so I got some songs. What do I do? And then I got a clear message in my head. I say it was from God. It was just finish the album. And so I'm like, okay, what? But how do I push it? Just finish the album. How do I get funding for it? Like, what do I do? Just finish the album. So that was my thing. Okay, I gotta finish this album. So I finished the album. I put it out. It's still some things that I had to learn along the way because I never really just put out my own solo project, my own solo album. But it came together very nicely. Like it actually tells a story from not so much a story, but it takes you from, if you're at a low vibe, it'll get you even higher. Or if you're at a high vibe, it feeds you with everything you need to stay up here at this level and the confidence to do so, even in the face of not that.
Absolutely. Let me see. Like, well, I want to tie it into the spiritual thing. So,
Yeah.
like, what kind of things were you experiencing that pushed you in that direction? Like, was it more just because you were hitting walls with the music, and then you were like, okay, there has to be more to life or something like that? Or what was it exactly? Because I know you've shared some experiences that are like, okay, like, I mean, to me they sound normal, but to others it might be like, what? So were there any of those experiences that, like, even that, I've literally had a similar like when you said something's telling you just finished the album, I've literally had like something very similar that, just do it. Like, shut up,
Yeah.
just do it. Not shut up. They didn't necessarily say that, but it was like, just do it kind of thing, right? So, um, so yeah, anything like that, like, were you having any other experiences like aside from that, or?
So, well, one, this is an experience in itself, like a deep understanding.
Oh, okay, okay.
And like, how you can just see how things work together. Like I always had those deep questions. If God is real, why does evil exist? Why do people suffer? Why, like, I understood it all. And it's like, okay, like I was so happy with the information and I was applying it to my own life where, again, like, how they say that you see the same colors but they're brighter. It was
Mm,
like that. And so, again, apart from the music, there was a slight hesitation in sharing this with those around me, because it's like they're probably gonna think I'm crazy. Like, even the, Jesus turn the other cheek. Who wants to get hit and then say, hey, hit my other cheek? But I get it. I understood it fully. And so I had a mastermind group at the time, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna give people this information in this group. If they kick me out, they kick me out. If they think I'm crazy, it just is what it is. And I told them, and they were very receptive to it. They were like, "Oh, you're right. That makes sense. I didn't notice. I didn't see how my patterns were bringing this out."
okay.
And one huge confirmation I got was on the basketball court. I was playing basketball. Things get physical, a little bit. You talking stuff. I pride myself on being a defensive player. Like, give me anybody, I'm guarding them. So I was guarding this guy who was like maybe 6'5". I'm 5'11",
Mm.
and so we're going at it. And I think I went for a rebound, and my elbow kind of came down. I think it hit him in the head or something. It wasn't intentional at all. And then he ran up to me looking down, and it was that moment where you can sense we're about to fight.
Oh.
So in that moment, my first thought was about fighting, because I'm a black belt in Taekwondo. I was like, man, okay, I'm gonna have to sweep him, and then I'm gonna have to just kind of, if he falls, I'm gonna have to just get him and run away. But but I was like, nah, okay, I'm teaching this stuff. I understand how this all works. I got to take my own advice. And so in that moment, I let go completely, and I looked at him with all the love I could muster. And in that exact moment, he said, "You know what? I'm getting too serious. I'm gonna take myself out of the game." And since then, we've been real cool. I mean, we still talk stuff friendly, but we've been real cool after that. No more issues. And I've been since applying that to any other disagreements I have with anyone ever. Just show love, and it's amazing the instant response of love that's given back.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. And how did you, so you had time to think of, like, everything kind of flashed like in your head real quick as you were.
Everything, like that whole ordeal was really a second, but everything kind of just went in my head. Like, okay, we're gonna fight. But then it was like, okay, where does this lead? I can't play basketball anymore. There could be retaliation, all of this other stuff. But at the same time, it was like, no, I just gotta trust. And it at the time, it's not easy to let go and drop your guard when somebody's ready to fight, because 1-2 punch, I'm out cold. I'm done. And it I don't know. It was just something divine. I had to trust. I had to try it for myself to see if what I learned and what I'm teaching is really the truth. And I learned that it is.
And is that something you got more from like the Course in Miracles, or just like your life already?
It's all of it. So like A Course in Miracles filled in the gaps, but I
Mm.
was already there. Like I've always been a peaceful person. Like I never want to hurt anybody. I never had visions of killing people, even in retaliation. Like that's just me. But again, I still grew up in Chicago. I still have a certain mindset that I grew into. But it's kind of like I don't know. I just understood the other way. Like I fully understood it. So it just all came together. And I can't say it was one thing or the other, but it was just in totality, it just all came together nicely.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this: like, what are some of the most profound spiritual experiences? Well, it sounds, see, that's why it sounds like you already had this awareness, right? But there was nothing where it was like, okay, now I know. Like, it sounds like you didn't doubt already from early on, right? You already had that understanding.
Yeah.
But there was never anything that you were just like, what in the world is this? Or,
Yeah. So I've had that
oh,
since
okay.
this awareness. So the best one was I was going to sleep. Um, I sleep on my stomach. So I was laying down and I usually let go before I go to sleep. Like I just let go completely relax, and I can just go to sleep like that. So I think at this point though, I think actually I woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, oh, it's like 2, 3 in the morning. Let me go back to sleep. And I started getting these pulses, like these total body pulses that the only way I could describe it is bliss. Like I've never felt anything this good in my life. And I'm like, wow, what is this? And it kept getting stronger and stronger. So I didn't want to move because I didn't want to stop it. And then like a big one came and it lasted for like a good 3 whole minutes. And my thoughts were, all right, if I die right now, or if this is what heaven feels like, sign me up. Like I'm done. I'm letting go of this whole world. I don't care anymore. There's still stuff I want to do in this world, so I'm not necessarily ready to leave. But in that moment, I could care less about anything going on here. It felt that good. And I don't, again, to this day, I don't know what it was. In my mind, it felt like angels were had their hands all over my entire body and giving me in like energy or something.
Wow.
And yeah, and so I didn't really want to move, but I think I moved a little bit. It kind of went away. No, I had a quick idea of fear, and that was enough to make it kind of dissipate just a little bit, and it was just little pulses, and then I fell asleep. But that was amazing.
So what were you doing beforehand that this came about? Like, what were?
Nothing. Like it was just your normal day. I didn't do anything spectacular. I mean, I meditate on a semi-regular basis, but there was no significant thing that brought this on.
Hmm, interesting. So, so now in your life, obviously you're still doing the music. You're still like pushing to help raise people higher, basically, right?
Right.
So is that your main focus right now, the music, or are there other things like for example, you when you're invited to the events, they give you a chance to speak as well, or because I know you've done a lot of podcast interviews,
Yeah.
but with some of these events, are they giving you a chance to speak as well, or mostly just perform the music, or?
But yeah, and actually, like some of the latest events, it was more so speaking. But they would like the idea for me to do music too. So if I didn't do music, they wouldn't have been upset. But they wanted me to, but they wanted me to speak as well. So yeah, I've done speaking, but the main thing is really the message in any way possible. Again, I love music. That is my love. So I would love for that to be the way or one of the ways. But conscious conversations like this. I'm working on a series, a YouTube series that's kind of semi-animated. It's like it just tells stories of just different spiritual beings and things that might not have a voice right now, like the sun. What would the sun be thinking if the sun could speak right now?
Hmm.
And I found out from people with spiritual gifts like you that I am channeling sometimes with my music, which I suspected because the wisdom that comes out of me is like, I didn't know this. This song is helping me too. So I definitely tune into something. I don't know how to do it consciously yet, but I guess it's just part of my process.
Absolutely. Wow. The thing is, I don't think I've ever really done it consciously either. So I don't think it's a conscious thing. I don't think you have to even worry about that. You know?
That's comforting.
Yeah, yeah. I think it just what came out is like, you know, because sometimes it'll be a song from like 10 years ago that hits me at that spot that, that I've written myself. And I'm like, dude, this is the perfect song right now. How 10 years later, like something will, for example, that if I've uploaded a song all of a sudden it will notify me that someone commented on a song from like 10 years ago. I'm like, oh, how did anyone even find it? And then you listen to it, you're like, what? It's almost like you're speaking to yourself, like you're telling yourself. And that's oh no, I don't want to say that because
But no, go ahead. Yes, yeah.
no, because it's I was gonna mention something, but well, I'll just say it and I'll edit this part out of anything. I no, because that's what you're talking about in the new song, that one that you sent me. So I don't want to ruin it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. No, oh no,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
cool. Yeah. We just, yeah, I'm fine with letting everybody know we're coming
Oh,
out with a song together.
okay,
Yeah,
okay, yeah. So yeah, and it has some like something similar to it. Just clicked right now, like the little light bulb moment. You see,
yeah,
so that sounds very channeled. Like that sounds very, higher knowing, higher. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So yeah, I
It
love
was
the message.
crazy you saying that. I didn't even think about that when I did that. It was just something cool to say, but it's very true. Like because what you experienced about somebody commenting on the song, like, oh, I forgot about this song, and you listen and you're like, wow, thank you, God. I needed this message right now.
Yeah, exactly. So at that moment, when you channeled that song, and then who would have thought, 10 years later, you're listening to that song that's,
Yeah.
reaching, And yeah. So no, I love that whole, there's some other things you shared, but like I know you shared them in a private group setting, so I don't want to bring them up because
Nah, go ahead. Yeah, I'm wide open. I'm
are you
open for it
sure?
all.
Because
Yeah.
then I don't want to be the guy that brought like, the thing is, hey, what we share here stays here, and then
Nah.
I'm the one that brought it out of
Yeah.
the circle of trust,
No, it's
Okay.
well, that's one of the things in the Course in Miracles. There are no private thoughts.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, you had mentioned this thing that see, because I had never really heard you say about these kind of stories. So, like you were talking about that you had seen like a past life thing as well, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't mind talking about whatever past lives you've seen, because I know there was one you shared about in a group, but if there's whichever ones you had, if you want to share about a few of them or whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, there were a few. So I did I've done two different sessions. So one session, I saw that I experienced being an angel.
Yeah.
And it was such a different personality than my personality now. Like it was, my joy was through the roof. I was flying around. I was like, I gotta give to humanity. I gotta give to the humans. I gotta help the humans. And it was almost like a kid, but like a kid who was free to express himself as much as he wanted. And it was a beautiful thing. I was like, wow, that's amazing. I also experienced one where I was this I wasn't human, but I was the person doing like the life reviews for humans
Oh wow.
after after they die, and it was almost like I couldn't understand, like it wasn't that hard. It can't be that hard to be a human, and I was very,
Oh.
I had a very old energy, like I was high and mighty, like anybody can do humanity. I can do that with ease. And so it was kind of like, fine, let me do it to show everybody. But I mean, I'm sure I had more than this human life. Um, the other ones I had were very interesting. So I'll give the main ones, because I did have a boring, not a boring one, but one where I was a lady who just didn't like her life. On paper, she had like everything you could ever ask for, but it was just like, I'm ready to die. I'm uninterested in this.
Wow.
Yeah. But one of the interesting ones was I was light, where like I'm in space, but I could expand and contract as I wanted. And I remember I went into this, it was like a spaceship that was full of the dark. Like everybody was just doing their thing in the dark. And I lit it up, and I don't know, it changed things. It, it's weird because it's like a dream, but it's not, like when you're doing this past life regression, because it's like you're awake, but it's things that you haven't considered at all. And what ended up happening was, I think I left a part of myself there so that they would have light to, to view in, to do stuff in, and I went off. And the cool thing was, I came up to like, it was like a wall of water.
Oh
And
wow.
so it was a wall of air right here, a wall of water. This is in space. And I stuck my head in the water. And as soon as I did, I looked around, I came out, I didn't have a head anymore. And again, I was a light body. Like I don't know how to really explain it, but it wasn't like I felt like it wasn't that I couldn't think. I just didn't have a head anymore. So what that told me was like, okay, it's time to move forward. You have to choose. I mean, either you're gonna stay here or go there. So I went into the water, and it was like I could move freely. I still had a presence of myself, but I was part of the whole thing. And it was just a different way of thinking. Like I've never considered that before. It's kind of like being drops in the ocean where you're connected to everything. And they say that's how it is here in real life. We just don't know it. Like we're all connected. We're all drops in that ocean, just seeing a reflection of the thoughts we hold or the emotions we hold in the present moment. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, no. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
And the one about the angel. Okay, well, let me ask you this: when you had these experiences, you were like being hypnotized then, or what was the?
Yeah, it was like hypnosis. The person, like, they had a prompt. They said some words. They brought me under, but again, at any moment, it wasn't like, so okay. This was my first time being hypnotized in these things. So it wasn't that it was against my will. Like at any moment, I could have just got up and said, "This is BS. I'm done." So it wasn't like that. But yeah, I was under a spell, so to speak.
Oh, okay, I got you. No, right. Like I have, because I was thinking I've never done that, but actually I did go to get specifically. I looked up a spiritual massage, right?
Yeah,
Because I was in pain, but I specifically went to get a spiritual massage, and they did all these other things. And there I was having like, while I was getting the massage, like yeah, my mind went to these memories, and yeah, and it was crazy. It was like me and this person that was doing the massage had this connection, and I think they got freaked out. They never wanted to talk to me anymore after that. But to me, it was like, dude, that was a past life. Like, who cares?
yeah,
Like, but after that, they did like, because I messaged them. I was like, hey, you want to come on the podcast or whatever? And they just ignored me. I was like, what? I was like, was it because of that? Like, because of the past life thing? Because it was just weird. Like, even when I got there, there were
yeah,
so many synchronicities. We were like, what? Like, just tripping out. Like, okay, I guess I was meant to be here with this person
yeah,
to get this spiritual massage. And then when they were doing it, they were doing all that stuff, right? Like they were playing, I don't know if it was the singing bowl or they had the music and then
yeah.
everything. So I just got in that. And I was like, okay, this is the closest to hypnotized I think I've ever been. And I started seeing things. So was it something similar to that? You just like, foof.
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
it in
You just
person or was it over like online?
it was online both cases. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the
Wow.
first one was a group one, and then the second one was a private one.
Oh.
But both times, like, my mind kind of went to that place. And to what you were saying, a question for you, like, do you think the past life was like the source of the discomfort that you were having now?
This certain discomfort, um, not necessarily,
Yeah.
but well, it got triggered in this life. So is it possible that it's from a past life? It feels like it's a past life with the person that had triggered it, right? Like, but it was a specific person that triggered that wound, that even this, like it had already gone away, and then someone else. So this time that someone else triggered it, not too long ago, I saw it and I was like, okay, I need to address this ASAP because I see what's going on here. So at least now, being able to like address it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would like to see, like, yeah, maybe I need to do like the real past life regression like that, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I mean, you
Yeah,
asked what?
I definitely recommend it.
Okay.
It's cool. The cool thing about it is just it's a new way to experience a different consciousness. Like,
Mm,
you can imagine thinking like someone else, but when you're actually someone else and you're looking through it through your eyes, you're like, wow, this is crazy. I didn't even know I could experience something like this.
mm. So in that past life, you feel you were seeing it through someone else's eyes, or it was you?
But no, it was me, but like my makeup was different. Like I thought different, I felt different. Like it was a different school of thought at that particular time.
Mm.
Or each
Interesting.
time, each life.
Wow. No, that's kind of deep because for the most part, I never took the time to analyze that.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that I just kind of like I've had so many past life because for they used to come to me in dreams, but then when even that like I'd have like I'd interview like a psychic or something, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I see you like this," and I'm like, "Oh wow, I dreamed that." That's when I first started realizing like, "Oh wow, these were past lives. All these things that I dreamed, they were past lives." When the psych, "Oh, I see you in a past life like this or like that," stuff like that. So, but I never thought that to see what I was feeling in those instances, kind of. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
now I want to.
Because like right now, like you think a certain way. Like a situation comes up, you think like you.
Yeah,
Situation
yeah.
comes up, I think like me. But in that, it was like, nah, this is all foreign to me.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, it did change. The biggest, most enlightening thing I had. Well, I'll just share this real quick because I don't want to take away from like your
Okay.
interview or nothing. But for example, like I had that identity in this life about like my culture, right? I had that cultural identity, right? I've even made like whole albums about like, like cultural things, right? And when I had one of the visitations, it was like I felt like it was not I felt, it was like I knew, right? Like it was clear at some point, I don't know if it was like in this, but that was a family I came from, right? It was clear that I was one of them either at some point or still, or I don't know if that was one of my first like lives or something
Yeah.
where I wanted to even go with it. It was even hard to still be here because for like 2 months it took for me to shake off that energy, right? Because it was like my heart felt like I've never felt love like that. Like it's sad to say, even with your family, but my heart was like it burst open, right? And I was just like this is my family, like it was crazy. And after that, I was like, well, if I'm them and they don't even look like nobody on earth, like how the hell, like that had an identity, like damn, well this reality, this cultural thing isn't even real. Like, so that
Yeah.
might, like, I'm trying not to use bad words, but, like that twisted my, like, wow. And after that, yeah, I started leaning more towards, well, shit, like all
Okay.
this illusion that we have here is like something else. You know what I mean?
It
So,
it is, and that deep love you're talking about, I felt that in a dream. And I guess I'll tell the short version of that dream. Um, it was actually a few months ago. No. It was at the end of last year.
mm,
So in my dream, I'm outside somewhere like I thought I was like up north somewhere, like maybe England or somewhere like some place I'd never been to, but it was just a lot of grassy area. And me and my friends or whoever I was with, we were just playing some kind of sports game outside. Everyone was wearing all white. And then I some people called us in. They wanted to interview us because something happened. And so they interviewing us. They hooking us up to these machines, doing tests and things. And next thing you know, I'm locked up. Like I'm in a facility. I was treated humanely, but I couldn't leave. I had to serve whoever these people were. Um, and I had a room to myself that had a bed, toilet, sink, mirror, all of that stuff. And I was there. And so what ended up happening? Some time passed in my dream, and I went home. Like I was able to go home. I escaped. And when I was talking to people, they were like, "Man, we're so glad you back." Like everybody was rooting for you. Everybody was praying for you, like looking for you. And I'm like, "What? How do all these people even know?" Like I wasn't gone that long, was I? And then it started clicking that I was gone for years. I was locked up.
oh,
I'm still in the dream though, but and I was like, "Man, that's crazy." So I ended up going to they had a party in my honor, and it was an all white party. And again, I realized later, like through the whole dream, everyone was always wearing all white. I don't know what that's about, but um they had a party in my honor, and in that dream, everyone was giving me gifts. Now
mm,
the thing is, the gifts that they were giving me, it didn't really mean much to me in the sense of the item they gave, but they were giving me their most precious items,
oh,
which meant a lot. Like, wow, this is insane. Like, I can't accept this. And then what ended up happening too was I had like this, I had something bothering me in my mouth, And so I started pulling, and there was this like string that was just coming. It was just, and it was longer and longer. And it started clicking like, oh, I use this string to escape somehow. And I'm pulling it, and but it's like mountains of it. It's this huge thing. And everybody was coming up like, I'll hold this for you. Like, I'll hold this weight for you. And I can't describe the feeling, but it was just the most indescribable love I ever felt. And I woke up sobbing, like in a deep sob for 10, 15 whole minutes. Like I couldn't even go back to sleep. I was just crying and sobbing, and
Wow.
it was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And no, that's beautiful. You know, the only time I woke up sobbing like that, but it was like a premonition of when my brother passed, you know. So it was
Oh,
like
wow.
9 months before he passed, and I thought half the world had like died because the heartache, right? I woke up and the same, like my tears were, I had that like that distorted face and
Yeah.
everything. So no, just to say so I know what you mean, like, but like it's weird, right? Like you're kind of like what the, but that's beautiful that you woke up like feeling love, right? The
Yeah.
opposite. So that's amazing. And you remember all the details. So what was it? Do you feel like a past life, or do you feel alternate reality, alternate, like what did you gather from that experience?
Yeah, well, one thing that was the unconditional love. I was grateful for that because I never just felt that deep love before, and so
Mm.
if I need to, I can tap into that anytime now. Um, but for a while, I didn't know, and I think it was maybe a month ago. I did a psychic reading with Lorelai, and for the purpose of trying to figure out this dream because it came
Oh,
back to me again, like in full detail, like, oh yeah, I forgot I had this dream. And one of the things she told me was there were probably some higher beings that were just checking me out, just trying to see, how I would act, how I react, if I'm ready for something, or if I'm a threat to something, or like whatever it is. But I mean, it's nothing, of course, to worry about because we all spirit and stuff. But that was just an interesting take that I hadn't considered before.
there was something I wanted to share with you, but I don't know if you want me to share it with you,
Share it, yeah,
because I saw, and you saw like that. So see, when something else is accurate, then maybe something else is so that's why I'm like, maybe it was accurate, like the bewitched thing and all that,
yeah.
So I saw that like something, like I was gonna ask you, have you ever had an encounter with almost like, I don't know if those were like what people call grays, but have you had an encounter with those, like the grays? Because I saw
Maybe.
that with you for some reason, like, and there was a bit of them. So I don't know if that, like, but they didn't look harmful. They were just there, and you could see
Yeah.
like they had that kind of So I was like even thinking like, is that who you come from, or like
Well,
my brain started going there, like.
Well, no, well, at that psychic reading, she said I actually come from a star system she never saw before, and she said she was thankful for it. She said it was like a very bright, super bright star system that was just like that's what I come from there. I come from there, and they're like beings who are kind of they're waiting for me, like they miss me a bit. They want me to come back, but to your point with the grays, I feel like I have experienced them, but I've experienced that whole shadow being thing with the sleep paralysis.
Hmm.
So like this happened before the whole bliss thing. This was maybe months or something before because I've heard about the sleep paralysis and the dark figure, but I never experienced it. And so one time I woke up in the middle of the night, or maybe I was still asleep. I don't know. And it was like my hand was kind of outstretched. And I looked, it was a dark figure that looked like it had on the hat, and I couldn't move. And so I'm like, man, what is going on? Like, why can't I move? And I wasn't necessarily frightened because again, like I have this spiritual awareness now is nothing to be afraid of. But then I kind of went in the mode like, oh no, you're not gonna get me. Like I'm gonna do something. So I'm like, I can't move. So I'm trying to yell. So I'm like, yeah. But again, I wasn't frightened. I just wanted to win in the moment. Like, nah, you're not gonna stop me from moving. And then I think maybe I went back asleep after that, and when I came to, everything was fine. But what I took from that was there was a darkness in me that I finally released, and that was
Oh.
the manifestation of it. And then it was able to, go on and dissipate or do whatever it wanted.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. But in that encounter, it was like a shadowy figure.
Yeah, with a hat, like with the fedora.
Oh
With,
wow.
yeah,
That's amazing. But
I,
see, that's why, because sometimes I know they appear. It was like the beings, right? The ones that I saw that once I saw them, and it was clear it was a chant like that they were these Palladian beings, right?
yeah,
But the first time the woman that came to me, she's the one that took me to where my brother was after he passed. She was dressed all like she was like us, right? She looked
yeah.
human. She was like either in a military uniform or like a professional. She had authority. I thought she was an angel, but like, in God's army or something, because she was very like boom, it was like she was talking telepathically to me. And then when they appeared again, they were like, I don't know, 9 feet tall or something. I was like, yeah, and it was
Wow.
her. She was in like you could tell she was the one that had the authority. And then there was like, I don't know, there was three males like with her,
Yeah,
and I always called her like my star wife, because whatever. But I don't know, like maybe who knows,
yeah,
but what do you call it? Yeah, but that's how. But first, it was like they appeared regular, so I don't know. Maybe they sometimes appear so we don't get freaked out. I feel like you're gonna see something, like something's gonna appear to you. Because I saw, not that you were afraid, but I saw like almost like if you were startled by something, like, oh, you know what I mean? Like something caught
yeah,
you off guard. Unless it was that what you just mentioned. But I feel like you're gonna like something's gonna appear to you. Like if it hasn't yet, but it sounds like it kind of already has. But I think something like, you know
yeah.
what I mean? I don't
No,
even think
I'm
you're.
ready. I've been
Yeah.
welcoming it. I've had instances where something happened and I initially got scared, but I was like, no, dude, I'm ready now. Do it over. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Like things at the corner of my eye. I heard whispering one time, which it only happened once, but it was interesting. Like nobody was in my house, and it was like they were downstairs, and I just heard like two people having a conversation
Oh
whispering. So
wow.
that was yeah.
Okay. See, now we're because yeah, yeah. So you have experienced like all these things, right? I know you've
Yeah.
experienced things with animals too. I don't know if you want to share any of those
Yeah.
experiences, because I love all the animal things, obviously. So
Oh yeah, or definitely like animals love me now. Or maybe they always have. Maybe I was just fearful of them, so I
mm.
kept them away. Birds, they do stuff for me. And it's hard to catch on camera, but I saw two birds fly over my head, spread their arms and legs, and high five each other. I know how that sounds. I know exactly how that sounds. And during COVID, when I went outside, like when COVID was when it was ending, when humans weren't really outside and nature was thriving. I remember one time I was walking and the wind was blowing and the birds, it was a lot of them. They just kind of just started crisscrossing me just happily. And I was like, wow, this is beautiful. Old me would have been scared and would have ran away, but it was just like, man, this is cool. They're like playing in a sense. Um, One time I was walking, there was the bird that stands on one leg. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like it kept being in my path. Like it'd fly away, and then wherever I turned, it would be there.
Wow.
So one time I went running and I I did something stupid. I was running down the hill backwards. Why would I do that? Hit a pothole, sprained my ankle really bad. So I had to like hop to my car, which was far away, drove home. And so at this time, this was the first time I ever ordered the food delivery from one of the apps. And I think they sent it to the wrong house. So I'm hopping outside, and when I look out the window, there's that bird on one leg. So when I'm on one leg, it's on one leg, and I just thought
Wow.
that was some kind of spiritual coincidence, synchronicity. It was just cool, but just little stuff like that. Yeah, yeah,
No, no, yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it. Yeah, those are, because that's so it's there, right? Like, and that I'll have those kind of experiences. Like, for example, like the day after my friend passed away, right? He was native, and it's like he had the hair, but it was funny. Like once he was joking about he's, I don't have that. He's like, what, my little ducktail? He said like his little ducktail or something, right? Cause
yeah,
cause I was like, man, I wish I had hair like you. And he's like, my hair. He's all, man, what, the little ducktail? Like he was trying to say, like for natives with all the luscious hair, like he just had his little
yeah,
ducktail. And then so the day after he passed away, I had gone up to the mountains, and these ducks just start flying But I don't know. I started counting them for some reason, and it was exactly 21 ducks. And it was almost like instead of a 21 gun salute, they gave him a 21 duck salute for his
Wow.
little duck tape. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why my brain put all that together now. Like, wow. And it just
Wow.
hit me. Yeah, I even got emotional about it. Like, I was like, oh man, that's him. Like, that's crazy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So they do stuff like that. Like that, all random.
Yeah. One time when I was doing a fast, I was on day 4 of a fast, and I just felt good. I just felt really good. I was like, maybe I'll go meditate. And so I'm meditating, and then I just hear birds just chirping outside my window. So I look, and they're like hundreds of birds just flying in. Like at one point, the sky looked black to me when I had looked up, and they landed in the trees in front of my house, across the street from my house, on my roof, and they just chirping. And I filmed some of it. It lasted for about 5 minutes, and they just flew off, and that was it. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Wow. That's good. You haven't seen that one movie where the aliens, but that one's more like kind of scary. They're like flying into the house,
Oh
all
yeah,
the
yeah.
birds. You saw that movie?
I think so. Like the old Birds movie, like the birds.
No, it's about actually it ends up that like these people, they feel like they're going crazy, but at the end, it almost seems like a scary movie, but it ends up being
Yeah.
a movie about aliens. And
Huh.
then the kid gets taken. Oh, shit, I ruined it. But yeah, the
Nah,
kid
that's
gets
cool.
taken at the end, right?
I don't think I saw it.
Yeah. I was like, well, one day I was just watching it. This looks interesting. And then it ends up being like that, an alien movie where like things are happening in the house
Yeah.
and eventually like the birds are starting to fly into the house and just crash into it and everything. And so that's what it
Wow.
reminded me of right now. Like, who knows? Maybe they're about to take you or something. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah. Nah, I'm open to it. Like
Yeah.
I'm open to the idea. Like, hey, let's try it. Hey.
Yeah. That's funny. So, no, go ahead. You were gonna say something?
That's really it with the bird. Well, no, I still have more bird story, but just other animals. Like even today when I was walking outside, because I go outside every day. It's beautiful. A dog just started walking with me and jumped on my leg, and I'm like, "Who do you belong to?" And then halfway on my walk, a lady pulled up with a car. Like, "Yeah, this is my dog. He got free." And yeah,
Oh, that's yeah, no, but that feels good. It's like to me when I see animals, like if they run away from me, I'll feel like I know it's in my head, but I'll be like, oh, did I have bad energy or something? Like,
yeah,
why did they? Because if I'm walking and a deer is just standing there and I'm like, oh wow, like it's cool, like that means it's not scared of me. Like I must be giving off good vibes or something. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So
yeah.
I get happy. Um, I wanted to ask you too, like because I know so you do life coaching as well, right? So I
Mhm.
wanted to make sure to ask you about this. So is there any advice you would give to people, like anybody out there going through things, or like how would you recommend that they go about trying to make a change in their life, like whether spiritual or just in the everyday life? Like what's something you would give to somebody?
Yeah, I would give people permission to have more fun.
Mhm.
Um, because sometimes, we get caught up in the seriousness of it all, and I have to be efficient, I have to be productive. And I mean, you can still do those things and have fun, but sometimes they'll delay their fun for some idea of the future that may never come. And so all this time they could just be miserable and for that one day of happiness. Like that to me that doesn't equate. Like we should find a way to be happy continuously. And again, we can still be productive, we can still be serious in our craft with that fun, but just prioritize it a little more. Because it makes everything else easier. When you're in a fun spirited vibe, you can look down on your problems instead of looking up to them. And it's like, oh, I could just do this, I could just do that, and it's not a problem anymore.
Absolutely. I'm gonna take that one for myself too, because I forget that sometimes. So let me ask you, like, so the music that you make, you think you lean towards that fun as well? Like, is that something you do like on purpose? You lean towards because some of it, I
Yeah,
mean, just sounds like inspirational, like boom, like the Let Go. It has a more serious beat, but it's inspirational, right? So do you
yeah.
make like any songs too would that have that fun aspect to it, or?
Oh yeah, no, I definitely do. I even put what do you call like inside jokes in them just to see if people listen in it, just to see if they'll catch them. Just because I can't be super serious all the time, even in this, like helping people. I was trying to think of let go. And let go, I think I did a stupid voice when I was like, I had it worse, like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Just
No, I caught that. Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, just little stuff I'll just throw in there. But yeah, like let go came from a real place. It was in my mastermind group where someone just kept bringing up and the same incident over and over again. And when she did it, she kind of she would go into that energy. And I was reminding her, like, look, you right now you're peaceful, but then you start telling this story, you're not peaceful anymore, and you're letting this energy guide you when you could just let it go. Just, try to make peace with it, accept that it happened, and let it go. And that kind of led to that song, because I saw that others were doing the same thing, where the moment was super peaceful. They brought up something that wasn't in this moment, and then it just changed their whole day for the worse, for in their perspective. And I was like, I gotta make this song. Let go.
Absolutely. No, that makes sense. It's like you know, like there was even a friend that we stopped talking because we were good, and then they wanted to bring up like conspiracy stuff, and then, but it was bringing the whole. I was like, you know what? I'm just not in the mood right now. And they're, well, if you don't want to talk about this, then I don't want to talk. And then I was like, all right, I guess we're not talking, and that's it. That was the last time I talked to that friend because it was like they had to just push like, and we are good, like it was
Yeah.
peaceful, but sometimes like these I mean that's different. That's conspiracy stuff. So
But no, it's the same thing, because I mean, like, anything that has a negative, that lends a negative outlook for you to see things negatively, like, that's lowering your energy. And I agree. Like, we shouldn't do that. So even in instances like that, I still have friends that do that, but I'll take a more fun approach now, because I'm not as serious as them about that. I'll just throw things out there to just, throw a monkey wrench in what they thought. Like, well, how do you know it's not this? Or how, like something more positive ended.
no, that's a good, because yeah, after I was thinking like, damn, then I'm just gonna be losing all my friends because I started taking that approach of the, you know what, I don't want to deal with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, if you want to talk about that, then I guess like peace. That's it.
Yeah.
I'll see you in the next life or something like that. But that's actually a pretty smart way of going about it, right? Like making light of the situation. So that makes a lot of sense. So
Yeah. And people will listen to, like, they might not accept it right away, but I've seen instances where over time, like, people might say, oh yeah, I know what JClay is gonna say already, so I didn't even come to you. But like, because of that, like, they switch their mind to that more positive ended thing by just thinking of me, in a sense. Um, and I've heard some people share some thoughts that I've shared with them, but as if it was their own. And I'm not saying that maliciously, like, that's my thought. You can't say that because I got it from Course in Miracles or from just other spiritual people. But to see them take ownership of that mindset is a beautiful thing. Like, wow, okay, they're starting to understand how to be happier now.
yeah, absolutely. So I mean, so is that one of the main things you focus on when you do the life coaching, like just like trying to get people to the happy place and
Yeah, that the happy and peaceful place, just because you can make better decisions. You can hear from spirit, because like, I remember hearing it. I think Abraham Hicks said it's like a lot of static if you're in a low place and they're trying to communicate with you, but if you're in a high place, you can hear it as clear as day, like as clear as we're speaking. And so it's we're just trying to get people up there.
absolutely, that makes sense. No, and even recently, I think I put myself in a different. Wow, it was like unneeded stress, and I knew it. I was very aware, but it was just like I think. Well, it was funny because actually I looked into the whole. Well, I don't like to give power to the astrology thing all the time.
Yeah.
Really, never. Right? I don't like to just give other things the power, but after I went through this and then I read it, I was like, what? Like this made sense.
Yeah.
It all made it was like, oh, this is if you're this and that, it's gonna be a confusing time. You're not gonna be able to make decisions. So where normally I'd be like, boom, I was stuck in, should I not? And then that started adding stress.
Yeah.
And then I just wasn't like where I'm usually at. You know what I mean? And it was
Yeah.
just like,
I and I can relate to the astrology because I was the same way. Like, man, that's not me. That's not, a Capricorn. But I came across something called Gene Keys that takes like life path number and just all this other stuff into consideration. And the same way, I read something about me that I just went through that was like something that was major for me to overcome. And I was like, how did they know? This is amazing. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So when it's so exact, it's like, all right. Not that I don't believe in it, but I definitely try not to always, like, you know what I mean? So, but
Yeah.
once you read it and it already passed and it was exactly where you went, then it's like, okay, it validates it, it confirms it. You're like, all right,
Yeah.
cool. Then
And
go ahead.
oh no. Well, I was gonna say the way I see it is like, because God is great, the universe is great. In a sense, we're a mathematical formula,
No,
but
yeah,
but
yeah.
but that's not all we are. I mean, we're a lot more than that. But it's just like it's so precise who we are. We're meant to be who we are. Like it's no accident that we think a certain way and we handle things a certain way. And I think that's cool.
Absolutely. And so backing off of that, what do you say to people that like if they're trying too hard to like the compare, we live in that world now where everyone's comparing. So if they're stuck in the, well, how do you want me to be happy if this or that? And they're stuck in comparing themselves to other people. Like, what would you say? Because see, I get it. Exactly. Like you said, I think there's no better way of saying it than that we're each specifically made the way we're supposed to be. But for someone, how would you put it in a better way? Like, so someone could.
Yeah. It would be start leaning into you more. So again, like we all have these directions we want to go, but we might be fearful. We might think that we're not supported. We might think that people think we're crazy. So I'll probably bring up just examples of people that have done seemingly weird stuff but have been successful. Like there are singers that were on what's the singing show where they
American Idol?
ridicule the bad singers?
American Idol or which
Yeah,
one?
American Idol. But they were bad singers that had a career off bad singing. Like
Oh.
that's mind blowing. You know what I mean? And they were just having the time of their life. They were just doing what was in their heart. There are people who even I don't even know if people realize how crazy this is because the Olympics just came up. There are people making billions of dollars from just running. Like that's one of the most basic things you could do is run, but they do it in such a way that it's amazing. And we all have that unique way of doing like rapping. Rapping is just talking. I'm just sharing my thoughts.
Yeah.
Like how amazing is that? But we do it in such an amazing way. It's all these we make the ordinary extraordinary by just our enthusiasm for it. And we all have that. And it doesn't have to be something grand. It could be the most simplest thing, and we're all rally behind it. Like, wow, look how they fold this piece of paper and make these shapes. Like,
Ah.
it's cool.
Yeah. Speaking of the Olympics, I'm just because at first when I saw it, I was like, wow, because like I grew up around breakdancing and all that, right? I went to, like there was this big event called Radiotron where people would come from around the world for, to go to this breakdancing event. And, there were legends from breakdancing, all this. So in the Olympics, I didn't realize that the Olympics had breakdancing and they showed that, that lady. And when I
Yeah.
saw that, I was just like, at first, of course, I was like, dude, like, I was like, what an insult. Like, how did she make it to the Olympics? But, I had to, like, that part came out because I was like, well, who let her in the Olympics? But it was funny. After I was like, what if she hadn't been there? Like, I'm sure, like, yeah, I'm sure, I didn't even look, but I'm sure thousands of people posted videos
Yeah.
about her. But it was just, like, I don't know how she got to the Olympics anyways. Like, that was.
Yeah. No, I had the same thoughts as you. Like, this is an insult. There's so many people that you could have asked to be here that would have put on a way better performance. And like you said, it brought joy to the world in so many ways because so
Yeah.
many people laughed at it. And she's even launched a career from it. So yeah.
She lost the career?
No, launched.
Oh, launch. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
because I saw that. I think after people were like ridiculing her to the point where she was like leave me alone kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man. I mean, but yeah, like it was. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I would love to. I think I'd love to interview her and ask her like, well, why did you do it in that? Were you being serious, or were you just like making to see how far it would take you making fun of it? Like, what was your mind
Now,
frame?
from what I understand, like, because I think her husband is an authentic dancer, and she said she had been practicing. She had like a PhD in something, and but the one thing I will say positive, if you watch it, she has so much confidence. Like she could
Yeah,
teach a master class in confidence because wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
See, exactly. There's something good to get out of. Well, yeah, and it's a good like since you put it that way, it's like what's stopping anybody? If this person that like someone that probably watched it, and I practiced when I was younger, but I had an that's what stopped my breakdancing career. I injured. I was trying to do this thing, kicking my legs in the air, and my
Yeah.
knee popped 3 times, like pop, pop, pop. Yeah, I had to get knee surgery. I tore my meniscus trying to break dance. So then
Yeah.
after that was it. I was like,
Oh,
I
so
still
you were a real
dressed
break
cool.
dancer.
Yeah, well, I was trying, because my friends, whoa, they were like, dude, they were doing windmills to what are they called? Like I mean, they were just like all over, right? They were like
Yeah.
amazing, like they could pop, they could break dance. So I was part of like a crew, right? But then so I was learning, and then that stopped my career right there. I don't know, about 17, 18 at the time, and I was like, oh man. So I mean, I could have probably got better and kept going. So I
Yeah.
really was like, around that, right? So when I saw her, I was like, what is this? Like how did how did she make it to the Olympics? But that was the crazy thing. I was like, who judged? Who was the judge? I didn't even blame her. It was like, who judged to, you know what I mean? But like you said, the confidence. So there's no excuse. Like anyone that's like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. She's a good example to like, hey, go for your dreams.
Yeah.
Look at her, like she's there doing some bunny stuff. I don't know what. Kangaroo. Oh, she was doing
Representing her entire
kangaroo.
country.
Huh?
Representing her entire country. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think she went through all the animals, right? She did like the kangaroo, the koala. She was like just doing. So that was beautiful. That was beautiful. And that like in a ceremony, that would have been cool because she was like embodying all the animals, right? Like every animal that existed in Australia,
Yeah.
she was like embodying it through breakdance. So that was beautiful. Okay, so enough about that's messed up. Like, I think this is the first time ever in an interview where like I started like top bad like I'm not bashing,
Right.
just like making fun, like I guess whatever. It was
But no,
interesting.
I mean, it's true. I mean, it's true. Like we can do anything, and if we can remember that, it's like why not like in some people's eyes she failed in front of the world, but not really. It's not a failure.
Nah,
She
no.
was at the highest stage.
Yeah.
Everyone knows who she is. People want to meet her. People want to interview her. Like
Yeah.
it's a win.
Yeah. I don't see her as a failure at all. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, like, because I don't know her if that was the thing. Like, whatever her goal was, she accomplished it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was like, I don't know if she did it like making fun of it, and oh, watch, I'm gonna get to the Olympics, just be like straight out messing around. I'm gonna get to the Olympics. She did it, or if she was, you know what I mean? So I don't know
Yeah.
what her. I would love to interview her too. So that was amazing. Okay, so I don't know. We went off into that whole thing. So I mean, we could. Yeah, I don't want to keep you any longer than I'm sure you're a busy man, but is there anything else you want to talk about before we go? Any upcoming projects where people could find you, for your live
Yeah.
coaching services and everything else, or feel free to
Yeah.
whatever you want to share.
Yeah, so jclay.org, jclay.org. That's my website. People can find everything, all my music, contact info for coaching, all of it. I would say check out the album I Am Nobody, I Am Someone, because it is filled with bangers and it's filled with that spiritual truth. And yeah, I'm working on another album. Like it's almost complete. I'm setting things up so I can release the first single in a couple of months, and I'm excited about it.
So
Yeah.
since when? How long had it been since you released an album then? With this.
Ooh, so this is my second solo album. So in between this time, I did a thing where I released like a track every week. I
Oh.
I wanted to do it for a year. I only did it for 26 weeks. which is still a lot. So that
Yeah,
could have
that's a
been like a
lot.
couple of
That's a lot.
albums. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it wasn't a complete thought. Like I love the album because I'm sure you can have like a complete thought. It's not like just random spurts. It all has a universal message that all ties together.
Mm. Wow. So this new album has that feeling to it too. It's like a whole complete thought. Okay.
Same thing from start to finish. Each track is ordered in a way to invoke certain things and get you to the next one.
Well, let me ask you this then in closing. Was there a huge inspiration for you making music? Like, who's one of your biggest inspirations?
So I couldn't say that there was one. Like growing up, I love mainstream music because one, it was free and I had access to it. And I just like that sound. I just like something about it that just had that mass appeal. So any and everything on the radio influenced me. But not only that, TV show intros influenced me. I don't know if you remember a long time ago, it was like a Mario Brothers super show, and they had a rap at the beginning of it. I still remember pieces of it. Like all of that added to this. I just love the creativity of it all, and I love how people can stay on a subject and give all these points, but it rhymes and it sounds good as well. So it's a lot of influences.
No, that's amazing that you said that, because sometimes I'll still go hiking and I have it on my like for my music, like even the song from like, what was it, Rescue Rangers, I think, or Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. That music is if you listen to it, it's like all live bass, like everything. It's like, and they're telling this whole story, and I'm like, damn, this is just so good. Like, and I'll be hiking listening to that, so it's crazy. Yeah.
So check this out. One time, when He-Man first came to Netflix, because that used to be my show growing up. Like I loved He-Man. I started watching it, and I was like, oh, I made beats that sound like the background music to this. I had no idea because it was just in my subconscious. But so all of it is meaningful.
Absolutely. I've done the same thing too. But then after me, I was like, let me not say because I was like, wow, could I have had that in my subconscious, like from this cartoon, and I put it in this song? So I was like, but I don't remember. It doesn't even look like a cartoon I would ever watch. So that's what tripped me out. I was like, maybe I just picked, it was just on. I picked up on it, and this made it to, I was like, because I was like, oh man, how did it come out? It sounded too, like the cadence, right? The cadence and everything. I was like, oh wow. Damn. So, but to me, I'm like, I didn't do it on purpose. So I don't want, why at that time, like everything I put out, when I put my energy into it, I always thought like, if it blows up, right? Like, oh man, this is such a good song, it's gonna blow up. But I was always like, oh man, hopefully someone doesn't come like, oh no, you owe us money. And I'll be like, well, I didn't do it on purpose, but I don't think they'll care about that, right? Like, yeah. Okay. So I won't say nothing about that. But
as long as you can prove that it was an original idea.
But I mean, none of the words are the same. Just the cadence is like, or were the words the same? Shoot, I gotta go listen to it. But it was just one of those things. No, but thank you. I don't want to keep babbling on. Do you want everything's good? Like you don't need to delete anything that was in the beginning? Because remember I told you I was like, oh, I could delete this or whatever. You don't care.
Yeah, no, everything's cool. I'm wide open. If I made mistakes talking, put it in there. All of it. I'm
Okay, perfect. No, this has been awesome. Hopefully we could do it again. I know I'll be talking to you soon regardless. So it's an honor. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I know people will get a lot out of it, especially all these inspirational things that you do, right? So hopefully that inspires.
Thank you for having me. I mean, time flew by. It's been fun. We definitely got to do this more. And
absolutely. All right. So on that note, we'll end it there. Thank you, anybody that watched. I appreciate you all. And all right, JClay, thank you.
Life may move fast, or it may move slow. I met a silly man who said he make it slow. We look up out towards space, or even at the sky. One day pass away, but never look inside. Breathe in, breathe out. Life is a maze, but we'll figure this out. I mean, human beings, I ain't got no doubt.
Yeah, sometimes you're just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You're just feeling it. And I want to feel this way forever.